North Korea tests its first missile of the year. They claim it was hypersonic. How much of a threat are North Korean missiles? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Last week, North Korea launched a ballistic missile. That's according to the South Korean and Japanese governments. How many times have you heard basically this exact same story? North Korea tests ballistic missiles is like Friends reruns. If Friends reruns gave you existential dread. Sorry, if Friends reruns gave you more existential dread. This is the first North Korean missile test since October 19th. And the timing was interesting. It took place just hours before South Korean President Moon Jae-in attended a groundbreaking ceremony for a symbolic railway project he hopes will eventually connect the two Koreas. What a good signal that sends. I'm sure North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un means well. This is like your ex asking if you want to try being friends, and you respond by launching a ballistic missile. South Korea and Japan initially reported that the missile flew 300 miles east into the sea. But according to North Korea, it was a hypersonic missile that precisely hit a set target 430 miles away. The discrepancy of those reports might have to do with the final leg of the missile's flight. It might have gone below Japan's radar coverage. Or it could be that North Korea is exaggerating its claims. What? You mean to tell me that the country that sets its former leader, Kim Jong-il, was born under a double rainbow, learned to talk at 8 weeks, shot 11 hole-in-ones in a single game of golf, and never had to poop, may be over-exaggerating its claims? But how concerned should we be about North Korea's missile launch? More after the break. Welcome back. Hypersonic missiles are the new trend. China is doing it. Russia is doing it, and North Korea doesn't want to miss out. This is the most obvious insecurity manifested in rockets I've seen since Jeff Bezos. But does North Korea actually have the capability to develop and test hypersonic missiles? For a missile to count as hypersonic, it needs to reach speeds of at least 5 times the speed of sound while being maneuverable. According to North Korea, the missile tested featured a detachable hypersonic glide vehicle, HGV for short. This would sit atop a booster rocket and detach from it before gliding to its target. That makes it harder to intercept. South Korea casts doubt on North Korea's claim. The recent North Korean missile technically reached hypersonic speeds, but according to the South Korean Ministry of Defense, it didn't show much maneuverability. Don't you hate it when you're bragging about your missile's capabilities and your ex tells everyone it isn't as impressive as you say it is? North Korea did not make the evasive and zigzag maneuver. Rather, the missile made a circling maneuver because canards, little fins attached to the warheads, have limited maneuverability. This is neither a hypersonic glide vehicle nor a hypersonic cruise missile. This is a missile with a mobile warhead. Wait, a circling maneuver? So did North Korea basically just build a nuclear boomerang? Sadly, this wouldn't even crack the top 10 worst ways the North Korean regime hurt its own people.
Officials said the North has yet to secure technologies for a hypersonic flight vehicle and added that the weapon is likely not an upgraded version of the Hwasong-8 missile the North fired in September, but rather a different type that was unveiled at a military exhibition the following month. The ministry also sees the combined forces of South Korea and the U.S. as being capable of detecting and intercepting such a missile.
In response to North Korea's provocation, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken condemned the missile test in a phone conversation with Japan's foreign minister. And by condemned, I hope they meant they laughed their heads off at it. A nuclear boomerang, that'd be a stupid weapon even in a Legend of Zelda game. The UN Security Council convened an emergency meeting earlier this week on Monday. That'll probably lead to some strong condemnations from some countries, but not much action. which is in line with the official foreign policy in dealing with North Korea. We tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas. People are quick to point out that even if North Korea doesn't have hypersonic missiles, that doesn't mean they don't pose a threat. I'll get back to that after the break. Welcome back. There are a lot of ways North Korea can shoot missiles. The test last week was launched from a wheeled launcher modified from a Russian vehicle. North Korea has also been working on submarine-launched missiles. But recently, North Korea has started diversifying its missile capabilities with railways. Yep, nuclear missiles on railways. Now, when you leave a penny on a track in North Korea, instead of it being flattened, it'll glow. I'm just kidding. Thanks to the way Kim Jong-un runs North Korea, everyone is too poor and hungry to be able to afford wasting a penny. Actually, you would probably be sent to a labor camp for owning an imperialist American penny. But back to nuclear missiles on railways. The idea of railway-launched missiles has likely floated around since at least the 1980s, and it's been mentioned in the media since at least 2016. But North Korea had just started experimenting with rail launchers for the first time late last year. Railways played a critical role for North Korea during the Korean War, and they could play a role in future conflicts. Remember, South Korea just had a groundbreaking ceremony for a railway project they hope will unite the two Koreas, and North Korea is now looking to launch missiles from railways. I don't think South Korea is going to like North Korea's version of uniting the two Koreas. Railways could especially help with North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBM for short. Wheeled launchers already make short-range ballistic missile launchers mobile and survivable, but they can't carry the much larger ICBMs. It's kind of like trying to put a Super Nintendo cartridge into a Game Boy, only, for mass murder. Rail launchers, on the other hand, can carry ICBMs, at least in theory. This in turn increases the survivability of ICBMs should war break out in the Korean Peninsula, which almost feels like an inevitability. North and South Korea are the Ross and Rachel of the will they, won't they start World War III. There's that existential dread again. There are a lot of benefits of launching missiles by rail. Rather than being in fixed positions, rail-launched missiles could be dispersed in 4,600 miles of railways disguised as civilian freight trains. As if freight trains weren't annoying enough when they made you late for work, now they may wind up blowing up your whole neighborhood. Rail-launched missiles can also take advantage of North Korea's mountainous terrain, which has plenty of rail tunnels to hide in. But rail-launched missiles do have their weaknesses. Around 97% of North Korea's railway system is single-track only. This means trains have to stop frequently to allow other trains to pass. And if train traffic is anything like traffic in New York City, no one is ever going to let you pass, even if you are carrying nukes. Rail-launched missiles would also be heavily reliant on the electric power grid to move. Even then, the trains they ride on risk damage from poor quality wooden tracks. Some experts caution against giving too much credit to rail-launched missiles. For all we know, North Korea could simply be using this as a distraction to fool the world. Personally, I don't trust anything that comes out of North Korea. Kim Jong-un's weight loss? I'm convinced he just strapped his fat behind his back like Homer Simpson. Another possibility is that North Korea is using this as deterrence against U.S. strikes. Just having more missiles and ways of launching them alone are very beneficial for North Korea. They make the U.S. and other countries think twice before attacking. So long as their ex, South Korea, doesn't keep telling everyone North Korea's missiles aren't as impressive as they say they are. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. And if you like this show, please know we could not do it without direct support from viewers like you. Visit patreon.com/AmericaUncovered and contribute $1 or more per episode to help us keep the show going. So click the link below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.